All right, good morning. It is Thursday, March 6th, 2025. I'm Anthony. This is Drive Dive. So, hope you're watching this, not really to be entertained, right, but to maybe learn a little bit about productivity. And then, as I reflect on some, some different books, and then I hope, that you're also here to gain some insight into, I guess, my life and maybe my struggles and how I struggle to be more productive and so on. So I'm starting to realize that there's sort of a progression here. Some of the books that I've been talking about and the audiobooks I've been diving into, right, are James Clear's Atomic Habits, and then Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I guess the progression here is, right, Atomic Habits is a lot about yourself and forming your own habits and routines and systems, and working on your own identity, the type of person that you want to be, and then taking steps to become that person, doing the things that type of person would do on a regular basis, and stacking habits and such. And that's something that in the first part of Carnegie's book, he talks about the importance of not criticizing others, but to really begin with yourself and work on yourself, work on improving yourself. And I guess one of the things I've really been thinking about is what both authors mention, and it's this sense of belonging, that people are motivated because they want to belong, they need to belong. And that need can influence our behavior in some pretty profound ways. James Clear highlights some psychological experiments where, and I remember hearing these things in college too, where there's a subject in a room with a bunch of, I guess, participants in the study, right? The subject and the other folks, they're actors, basically. Might all be asked a simple question about, who was the first president of the United States of America, and it's basically shown that given enough other actors, they'll say the first president was Abraham Lincoln. If there's only a couple, the test subject might say, right, there's only a couple, there aren't enough. That person will say, no, you're all wrong. First president was George Washington. But given enough people, our fear of being wrong, our fear of not belonging, essentially, will cause us to just go with the crowd and say, oh, yeah, the first president of the United States of America was indeed Abraham Lincoln. James Clear's example was something about maybe a picture and the quality of it, whether it was blurry or not, and same effect. Enough people say that it's a crystal clear image and they know exactly what it is, and then the test subject agrees with them in the end, and without voicing any objection. So this need to belong really does take over. And so I think in Carnegie's book, this sense of belonging, he talks about in the second part of the book, we all want people to be interested in us. And I think that helps us belong. Right? If I know that you like what I'm doing, if I know that you like my YouTube videos and I get these likes and I get subscribers and things, okay, yeah, like I totally belong. Like this is my jam, this is my thing, right? People appreciate me and what I do. But the second teaching in Carnegie's book is that if you want people to be interested in you, you have to first be interested in them. So again, it starts with you. It starts with your own habits, your own routines, the ways in which you are expressing interest, taking interest in others, and then in turn, they will, I guess there's the opportunity, the possibility that they will take an interest in you. And so that's got me reflecting a lot on productivity and feelings of, right, productivity, connecting with people and belonging, right? If I feel like I belong, I think I'm more likely to feel productive. If I've mentioned, right, I'm a husband, a father, a teacher, and so, right, if I start with the classroom, I can set up all of the routines and workspaces that I need to be successful, right, and to engage in some of the very boring practices that are involved in teaching, like lesson planning and grading papers and contacting parents and responding to email and, right, things of that nature. I can set those things up for myself, but I could and do all of those things on a regular basis, but still not feel like I belong, in the sense that if I don't get enough output from my students, right, they're not taking an interest in the subject matter, in the course, in the lesson that I've prepared, if they're not engaging, doing the work, if their behavior isn't conducive to learning, right, and their performance is less than stellar, then I'm left feeling like, what am I doing, right? Why did I set all of that up? Why did I plan that lesson? Why did I make those copies? Why did I choose my words carefully when I presented how to solve a linear equation, for example? And I can be left feeling like I don't belong, like this is not the place for me. I'm not getting the results that I want. And so educators are trained to start with relationship building and really try to connect with students and, right, greet them when they come in the door and talk about, right, classroom culture and routines and expectations, and to build those things collaboratively, right? And in doing so, I think you are in these same ways that Carnegie suggests, first taking an interest in students. And for me, I think that's a lot of where my head is right now in teaching, trying to figure out, how do I get the students to, I guess, work on themselves first, right? And then establish their identities, establish their goals, their habits and routines and systems and means of accomplishing those goals. And in the hopes that they see my course as part of that road to success, that it would fit with their identity and their goals and who and what they want to be in the future. It's tough when that relevance isn't there, when students don't see the relevance of the actual subject matter, but it's still the fact that, well, we need to, even if I'm not interested in the course and the subject matter, I mean, at some point I do need to pass the course in order to be eligible for sports, in order to graduate from high school, and then pursue from there, college, career, military, the workforce, etc. It is a means to an end, but what end, right? I wish that I could tease more of that out of my students and have them establish those goals and things, and then better engage, I guess, and better behave in the classroom. So that's one. And the other is, at times, feeling part of a relationship, right? Belonging in a relationship. I know that my wife and I, we have our struggles with the kids and work and chores around the home and everything. Finding that time to really connect is difficult, and I think a lot of times I'm left feeling as though my wife isn't interested in me, or then that I maybe don't belong, in the relationship, or I don't belong in the family, right? These ludicrous thoughts, really creep in, and that has to do with that feeling of belonging, or how we respond to a lack of feeling that we belong. And so then I think that's my struggle, is how do we then take the time to express interest in others so that they in turn express interest in us. And I'm reminded of, it's funny to me, I recently read an article too about, I guess, the power of small talk, and my immediate reaction is I can't stand small talk, but I'm like, I'll read it anyway. And I think this article again touched upon this need to belong. And so small talk is a way to do that. Why do we often just talk about the weather? It's that it's something that we all experience, we can all relate to. It's easier than to connect on that and belong in a conversation because we have weather in common. It's such a simple thing, but it also, I don't know, I a lot of times I find it annoying because I'm like, I don't really want to talk about weather. I want to talk about these bigger issues, right? Like, these are people that I work with, right? We have other things in common. We have students in common. We have the same struggles, I think, in our respective classrooms with student engagement and character development and cell phone policies and etc. Could we maybe talk about something else? So I don't value the small talk, but I guess on its face, right? But if it does help with belonging, then I guess I support it, right? Like, what is the larger goal here? My goal is not to engage in small talk, but it is certainly to belong, and it is certainly to open the door to these larger conversations about how to better support students and get them to engage in the lesson. With my wife, right? The small talk of, good morning and how did you sleep? And, is I think to create that opportunity to say, okay, what are we doing on Saturday? And can we get somebody to watch the kids? And, I saw this, and so maybe we can make time and to experience that together and so on, right? I mentioned that in a previous video about a boring task of coordinating calendars. Like, yeah, it's a chore, and that's not the end all be all. I don't necessarily value that, but recognizing within that activity that, oh yeah, there is Saturday nights where we could get the kids to bed and stay up late and spend some time together. That's the result I'm after, right? The bigger experience, the sense of belonging. And so, yeah, there are these little things along the way that we have to do. And so taking an interest in others is paramount. And so reflecting too then on this YouTube experience, right? It's we want people to do certain things, and in order to influence them to do them, I can't begin with, we don't start with, I want you to do this because if you do, here's how it will benefit me. It's you should do this because it will benefit you in this way. But unless I know something about you, I will struggle to tell you how you'd benefit, right? And it's interesting that in the YouTube world, you can do all kinds of research on the analytics, search terms, right? What are the types of content, the topics, the framework that people are interested in, and then you can make a video that meets that demand, right? I can take an interest in the audience, what are they after, lengths of videos. I think you can get all kinds of analytics on that. The titles and the formats. Are they looking for a top 10 video? Are they looking for a how-to video, etc.? So once you know that, then you can start crafting content, and at the onset of that video, hook them by saying, here's how you will benefit from watching this entire video. So it's an interesting process, and a lot of overlap here in the different realms, whether it's, like I said, in reverse order here, right? Establishing a YouTube channel, establishing stronger relationships at home, be it with a spouse or, a loved one, and then professionally with, I'll say, colleagues and with clients, just to go a bit broader. For me, my clients are students, but for you, your clients may be store owners and, right, just customers in general, right? So it's all kind of the same. And so that's where I say, that watching my content, I hope you're here to learn a bit more about productivity. And though I may not walk in your shoes or have a lifestyle that's like yours, I think you can take these lessons and insights from my experience as a husband, father, educator, etc., and apply them to your own context. So, with that, if you got anything out of this video, you know what to do. Give it a like. Please comment down below. I would love to hear from you. Take an interest in you, and in turn create some content that's better tailored to your needs and interests. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you catch me on the next one, which will be tomorrow. Try to put one out every day. So with that, thanks for watching. Happy Thursday. Have a great day.